There seem to be certain types of fragrances that we believe are the best ones to get you compliments. And for the most part, it's true. Fragrances that have that balance of sweetness and freshness with a little bit of spice and a clean, maybe shower gel feel. A lot of designer fragrances these days, these mainstream fragrances carry these elements because they are meant to get you that positive attention. They're meant to get you compliments. They're meant to have you kind of fit into the crowd and be likable and pleasing to as many people as possible. And these brands will continue to just rake in that dough. But this video is a little counter to that. I wanted to show you some examples of fragrances that have actually surprised me. For one, I don't wear my fragrances for compliments, but if they come, that's great. Another thing I want to say in regards to that, this video is not intended to say wear these fragrances, they will get you compliments. I think those videos are absolute bogus. I'm just going to be real. All I'm saying is that these fragrances got me compliments. If they get you compliments, happy day, but don't get them for that. If you're interested in them, I would say get them because they sound interesting to you, because you think you might actually like the way they smell. So I wanted to show you that it's not only the basic fragrances, yes, I'm calling them that will get you compliments. You can have stuff that's a little bit more artistic, a little bit more off the wall. It's all about how you wear it. If you're looking for something different, you might enjoy one of the 6 fragrances here on this list. And if they get you compliments like they got me compliments, awesome. First one up here, this is coming from an indie brand known as Rogue Perfumery. Did not expect this thing to get me some positive attention as it did. This is called Mousse Illuminée. And this is classic oak moss. It smells reminiscent of things like the original Polo Green. It is fresh, but it's very woody, it's very green, it's very mossy. There's a little bit of this interesting sweetness to it that's kind of hard to explain, but it's like a pine resin kind of feel. There's a very piney feel to this fragrance. It smells a little old school, but I was wearing it out one night in a suit and I got a compliment. Someone said I smelled really classy, and that's what I was going for. I wanted a classy vibe, so I put it on and someone liked it. That was great. Again, I wasn't looking for that, but I ain't mad at it. So that's Mousse Illuminée. Shout out to the Fresh Fam, my Patreon squad, for gifting me with this for my birthday last year. Really appreciate you guys. This one, definitely not a fragrance I would ever expect to receive positive attention on. This is a very heavy leather fragrance. And one thing you're gonna find about each one of these scents, they're specific, they have focus. They're not a blend or a mishmash of all the most likable elements. They actually have an olfactory identity, an olfactory personality to them. And this one is Rich Mess. Again, heavy, brash, dark leather. Not something everyone's gonna like. This is very smoky, very leathery, very almost dirty smelling, but there's an interesting blend in here. This is perfumed by Christophe Laudemiel, world-renowned perfumer, incredible perfumer, has actually made some very popular mainstream hits like Abercrombie & Fitch Fierce, like Polo Blue, among others. And this fragrance is a standout. This is an interesting mix of fig and leather, a little bit of vanilla thrown in there, and definitely some saffron. It's spicy, leathery, a little bit sweet, but the sweetness is shrouded by this smoky, brash leather. Not for the faint of heart. I wore it in a leather jacket one night and it actually really did nicely. And it was outdoors too. This is a very strong fragrance. You don't need much of it and you don't want it to choke up a room. And it had room to breathe and it actually fit the vibe very nicely. So this is one to check out. Rich Mess, get you a sample if you're interested in real leather fragrances. Coming from the house of Argos, probably one of their most polarizing fragrances. I would say this is one that some people don't really like that much because it's a little sharp. This is called Brivido della Caccia. And this is a very juniper berry forward scent. It's sharp, it's very green. There's also a lot of mate in here, which is a very distinctive kind of tea herbal quality that is, again, kind of sharp. There's also a lot of birchwood, so there's a smoky woodiness, and there's some leather in here as well. So some rather aggressive elements, but as it dries, you get this beautiful juxtaposition of sweetness from, I think, tonka bean. There's this creamy sweetness that is subtle but present and kind of envelops the scent as it dries, gives it a nice inviting warmth, but it still retains that pretty heavy green quality, which is not something you would expect a lot of people to enjoy, but in the air it really had space and people enjoyed it. Now this is kind of a classier scent in my opinion. I had it dressed up and it worked out for me. So I'm appreciating this one. I always have. It's definitely one of my favorites from the house. And not just because it got me a compliment. I love the way it smells. I'd wear it either way. Check out Brivido della Caccia. We have a little discount code down in the description for Argos, as we always do. Fresh 10, save you a little bit of money. Coming from Kilian, one of their newest releases from last year, definitely a polarizing one. You have to love licorice to appreciate this fragrance. This is called L'Heure Verte. I'm saying that terribly. Green Hour or Happy Hour or something like that. This is a, again, licorice heavy scent, lots of absinthe in here. There's a green, spirity, herbal quality that's kind of sweet, boozy in a way, but not overtly so. It's a little bit fresh, but mostly licorice. Very almost mentholic, woody, sweet in a strange way, and a little bit green. Very distinctive scent, very specific smelling scent. Again, very licoricey. You have to love that. But I wore it out one night. I didn't put on too much. It's not terribly strong, but strong enough. I wore it in darker colors and people seem to enjoy it. This is definitely not my favorite fragrance from the house, but I do find it really interesting as far as licorice goes. I wasn't always a fan of licorice, but this one kind of changed my mind a bit. One to definitely check out if you haven't already. That is L'Heure Verte from Kilian. Coming from the indie brand Dasein. This is beautiful stuff. This is transportive to me. This is a fragrance I wear for me, but it got me some positive attention, which is always a positive. I'm not trying to avoid that. This is called Winter Nights. Smoky campfire, but with a little bit of a coniferous quality. It's kind of green and foresty, and there's a little bit of this sweetness, but it's kind of fresh, spicy, but smoky, warm, almost fiery in a way. So it's like you're by a campfire in the woods at night. There's a freshness to it, so there's a cooling air quality about it, and again, a little bit sweet. Just the right amount of sweetness in there. This is kind of a casual fragrance. I did wear it out just on a casual, cool afternoon, and somebody liked it. So really enjoying this stuff. And everything that they have is fantastic. That is Winter Nights from Dasein. And finally, from another indie brand based up in Canada, this is called Untamed Fragrances, and this might be still my favorite from the house. Not something I ever expected to get compliments. It is kind of this like warm, muted, sweet, woody, musky scent. It is dry, but also smooth at the same time. There's a strange kind of natural earthy sweetness in there. It's not very fresh. It's quite dark, but there's, again, the smoothness that makes it a little inviting. It can come off as a very natural smelling aroma in the air when you don't spray too much of it. Something handsome about it. It's also unisex, I would say, but it's different. This is called Shaped by the Wild. For being so different, so specific, it's actually quite easy to wear. This could be a signature scent if you love it, but not in a typical sense. Again, it's not fresh. It doesn't smell clean or anything like that. It's dark, it's rich, it's beautifully blended. And it's something that I think a lot of people can like if you don't spray too much of it. It's different. It's gonna get attention in a way of people saying, oh, what is that? What do you have on? Check this brand out. I think they have samples. I would definitely sample them. They have 5 fragrances. They just released their newest one, if I'm not mistaken, which I haven't tried yet, but I'm really enjoying Shaped by the Wild. Okay, so those are 6 fragrances that I find to be odd compliment getters. Again, this video is not intended to make you any guarantees and to say go buy these because they will get you compliments. I will never say that about any fragrance. I want you to buy a fragrance because you love it. That's going to ensure that you're not accruing a bunch of redundant purchases and also buying based on conspicuous consumption, which is for the attention of others. You want to buy for your attention so that it will keep your attention, so that it will keep you happy every time you use it, whether or not anyone else cares. So let me know what you think of these fragrances. If you've tried them, down in the comments below. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Join the Fresh Squad. It's literally the most inexpensive thing you'll do all day because it's free. And thank you so much for tuning in. Peace. I'll see you in the next one.